All right, so ready to level up your career. Today we're going to tackle something that could be a game changer, especially if you're in the design world. Acing that design manager interview.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're eyeing a new role, maybe thinking about a career shift,
Yeah.
or just curious about what it takes to, lead a design team.
Right.
This deep dive is for you.
I like it.
We're going to break down
Okay.
an Indeed.com UK article that gives us all the typical questions and answers you might find in a design manager interview.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to unlock those secrets to landing that dream job?
Let's do it.
I am. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, me too.
I always find these career deep dives really fascinating.
Yeah,
because
it's practical, right?
It's practical. And I always learn something.
Me too.
What I thought was really fascinating about this particular article is that it highlights how design leadership, it's really evolving, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just create beautiful designs anymore.
Right.
You need to understand how design thinking can drive a company's success.
Absolutely. And that's what's so fascinating about this article is that it really highlights how design leadership is evolving.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just create beautiful designs anymore. You need to understand how design thinking can drive a company's success.
Yeah. And they actually emphasize skills like leadership, project management, and something they call business design integration.
Yes.
And, I've always thought that the most successful design leaders are the ones who get that connection.
Right.
How design contributes to the bottom line. Have you seen that in your own work?
Absolutely. I've seen companies thrive when their design teams understand the business strategy and can translate it into powerful design solutions. A great example is when a company I consulted for was struggling with low user engagement on their app.
Oh, interesting.
And their design team, working closely with the marketing and product teams, completely redesigned the user interface based on user feedback and data analytics.
I see. So it wasn't just about making it look pretty.
No, not at all.
It was about understanding the user journey,
Yeah.
removing pain points.
Exactly. And the result, a 30% increase in user engagement and a significant boost in revenue.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a perfect illustration of business design integration in action.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's unpack some of the specific interview questions they highlight.
Okay. Sounds good.
One that I found really interesting is, how do you measure the success of a design? It's easy to get caught up in aesthetics, but there's so much more to it, right?
There is, and it's such a common question that comes up in design interviews. And I always tell aspiring design managers to think about the AAA framework when answering this question.
Oh, I like this AAA.
Aesthetics, accessibility, and alignment.
Okay.
So aesthetics is the most obvious one, right? Does it look good?
Yeah.
Accessibility ensures the design is usable for everyone, regardless of ability. And finally, alignment. Does it align with the brand, the target audience, and the overall business goals?
Okay.
And if a design hits all three of those A's, you're on the right track.
Okay. The AAA framework, that's really good. I'm going to write that down.
It's concise.
It is concise.
And it's memorable.
The article also suggests talking about how the design meets its intended purpose.
Right.
Could you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So think about a website redesign
Okay.
for an e-commerce company.
Okay.
The design success wouldn't just be about how visually appealing it is.
Right.
It's about whether it leads to increased sales, higher conversion rates,
Oh, yeah.
and a better overall user experience.
Okay.
Are people finding what they need easily? Are they adding items to their cart and completing their purchase?
So you're saying it's about connecting design choices
Yeah,
to tangible results
Right.
and being able to articulate that in the interview.
exactly. Don't just say the design looks good.
Right.
Back it up with data, user feedback, or specific examples of how the design achieved a desired outcome.
I see. Numbers speak volumes.
Yeah, especially in business context.
Yeah. Okay, now for a question that I think can really trip people up.
Okay.
What encourages your creative thought process?
Uh-huh.
I feel like this is where a lot of people get stuck
Yeah.
trying to sound profound.
Right.
But what interviewers really want is authenticity.
Right. You hit the nail on the head. It's not about giving a right answer.
Yeah.
It's about showing your genuine passion for design
Mm-hmm.
and what makes your creative juices flow.
Mhm.
For me, it's about constantly seeking out new experiences, travel, different cultures, even trying new types of cuisine. All these things feed my imagination and help me see the world from different perspectives.
I love that. For me, it's about getting lost in a good book or podcast.
Yes.
There's something about immersing myself in stories
Mm-hmm.
and ideas that just sparks my creativity.
I love that.
And the article also suggests drawing inspiration from other professions. Have you ever found that to be helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I once collaborated with an architect
Oh.
on a website design project, and their understanding of space and flow completely transformed our approach to user interface design.
Huh. That's interesting.
It was amazing to see how their expertise could be applied to a seemingly unrelated field.
That's such a great reminder that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places.
Yeah, I agree.
Now let's move on to a question that I know a lot of designers dread.
Oh, here we go.
How do you handle tight deadlines?
I know.
It's like the ultimate test of a design manager's ability to stay calm
Right.
and lead under pressure.
It's definitely a high-pressure situation, but it's also an opportunity to showcase your leadership and problem-solving skills.
Okay.
The article mentions effective time management and prioritization, which are definitely important. But what really sets a great design manager apart is their ability to choose the right project management methodology for the situation. Oh, okay.
Have you ever had to switch gears from, say,
Yeah.
an agile approach to a more waterfall approach
Oh, all the time.
mid-project?
Yeah, sometimes a project starts out as like a sprint,
Yeah,
and it turns into a marathon, and you gotta adapt.
exactly.
Can you quickly break down agile and waterfall for those who might not be familiar?
Sure. So agile is all about flexibility
Okay.
and iterative development. You break the project down into smaller chunks or sprints and constantly adapt based on feedback and changing requirements.
I see.
Waterfall, on the other hand, is a more linear approach where you plan everything up front
Okay.
and follow a sequential process.
So agile is more like jazz improvisation.
Yes,
And waterfall is playing classical music from sheet music.
that's a great analogy.
I like that.
And the key is knowing which instrument to play when,
Yeah.
depending on the project's needs.
Makes sense.
But beyond any specific methodology, it's about clear communication.
Setting realistic expectations and empowering your team to make decisions.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
It's not just about managing the project.
No.
It's about leading and supporting your team
Yes.
through those high-pressure moments.
Exactly.
And speaking of teamwork, let's talk about conflict resolution.
Oh, yeah.
The article suggests seeking to understand both sides, encouraging open communication when resolving conflicts within a team.
Sure.
It sounds like you're not just a design leader, you're a bit of a therapist.
Haha. There's definitely an element of that conflict is inevitable in any creative team,
Yeah,
especially when you're dealing with passionate people and tight deadlines.
makes sense.
But what I've learned is that conflict can actually be a good thing
Oh, interesting.
if it's handled constructively.
Okay.
It's an opportunity for growth and innovation.
So it's about creating a space where people feel safe to disagree,
Yes.
to voice their concerns,
Yes.
to know that your perspectives will be heard
Right.
and respected.
Absolutely. And it's not about avoiding conflict altogether.
Right.
It's about having the skills and the emotional intelligence to guide the team through those disagreements
Yeah.
and come out stronger on the other side.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about a question that's designed to make you shine.
Okay.
Can you tell me about a design project you're most proud of?
Yes.
I always think this is a great opportunity to not just talk about what you designed, but how you led the team to achieve that success.
Yeah, it's all about storytelling.
Okay.
Paint a vivid picture of the project, the challenges you faced, the decisions you made, and the impact it had on the company or the users.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to highlight the soft skills
Okay.
that were crucial to the project's success,
Yeah.
like collaboration, communication, and the ability to inspire your team.
So it's not just about the end product.
It's not just about the end product.
It's about the journey and the leadership qualities you demonstrated along the way.
Precisely. Choose a project that showcases your strengths as a design manager,
Okay.
not just as a designer. And make sure you can articulate the impact of your work
Right.
in a way that resonates with the interviewer.
Makes sense.
Did it increase sales, improve user engagement, enhance brand perception?
Yeah.
Those are the stories that will make you stand out.
Okay, now let's address a question that's particularly relevant in today's rapidly evolving design landscape.
All right.
How do you stay updated with the latest design trends?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's like a constant game of catch-up.
It can feel that way. The design world is constantly evolving, which is what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
The article mentions reading design blogs, attending webinars, and experimenting with new software,
Mm-hmm.
which are all good starting points. But for me, it's about actively engaging with the design community.
Okay.
I make it a point to attend industry conferences, connect with other designers on social media,
Yeah.
and even contribute to online forums and discussions.
That's a great point. It's not just about like passive consumption of information. It's about actively participating
Yeah.
in the conversation and shaping the future of design.
I agree, and don't underestimate the power of personal projects.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the best way to learn a new skill
Right.
or explore a new trend is to just dive in and experiment on your own time.
Mm-hmm.
It's those moments of self-directed learning that often lead to the most creative breakthroughs.
I totally agree. And sometimes those passion projects turn into something bigger,
Yeah,
maybe even a new career path.
that's right.
Which brings us to another critical question.
Okay.
How do you handle negative feedback?
It's something every designer has to deal with, but as a manager,
Mm-hmm.
you're not just receiving feedback for yourself.
Right.
You're also responsible for giving feedback to your team.
So true.
Feedback is a two-way street,
Yeah.
and it can be tricky to navigate, both as a giver and a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the article suggests viewing feedback as an opportunity to grow and improve,
Yeah.
which is the ideal mindset.
Right.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that negative feedback can be emotionally charged,
For sure.
especially for creative people who often pour their heart and soul into their work.
That's so true. It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between being receptive to feedback, but also protecting your team's morale and confidence.
Right. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in.
Yeah.
Being able to understand and manage your own emotions,
Mm.
as well as the emotions of your team members, is crucial
I see.
for creating a healthy and productive work environment.
So what are some practical tips for handling negative feedback in a constructive way,
Yeah.
both for yourself and for your team?
So one thing that's helped to me is to take a step back and really listen to what the feedback is saying
Okay.
without getting defensive.
Right.
Sometimes it's helpful to rephrase the feedback in your own words to make sure you're understanding it correctly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And don't be afraid to ask clarifying questions.
That's great advice. It's about turning feedback into a dialogue
Yeah,
rather than a one-way criticism.
exactly. And when it comes to giving feedback,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about framing it in a way that's constructive and actionable.
Okay.
You know, focus on the specific behavior or outcome
Yeah.
rather than the person's character or personality, and always end with a positive note,
Right.
highlighting their strengths and potential for growth.
Okay, let's tackle a question that can really throw people off guard.
All right.
Can you describe a time when a project did not go as planned?
Oh, the dreaded failure question.
It is the dreaded failure question.
Yeah.
But I actually think this can be a great opportunity to showcase your problem-solving skills
Uh-huh.
and resilience.
I agree. No one's perfect, and every design manager has experienced setbacks along the way.
Right.
What interviewers are really looking for is how you handle those challenges,
Mm-hmm.
what lessons you learned, and how you applied those lessons to future projects.
Okay.
Did you take ownership of the problem? Did you communicate transparently with your team and stakeholders?
I see.
Did you find a creative solution to get the project back on track?
So it's not about hiding your failures.
Right.
It's about showing how you learned and grew from them.
Exactly.
It's about demonstrating that you're not afraid to take risks and that you can bounce back from setbacks stronger than before.
Right. And it's important to be specific.
Okay.
Don't just say the project failed.
Yeah.
Walk them through the steps you took to address the issue, the decisions you made, and the outcomes you achieved.
Yeah.
It's those details that will make your story compelling and memorable.
Okay, let's move on to another question that I think gets at the heart of design leadership.
Right.
How do you manage a team under high stress? Design is a high-pressure field.
It is.
It's important to create an environment
Yeah.
where people can thrive even when the deadlines are looming and the stakes are high.
Absolutely. The article talks about creating an open environment where people can communicate their concerns,
Right.
which is so important, but I think it goes beyond just communication.
Okay.
It's about creating a culture of trust and mutual support. It's about recognizing the signs of burnout and taking proactive steps to prevent it.
So it's about being attuned to the needs of your team,
Yeah,
both individually and collectively.
exactly. You
Right.
know, regular check-ins, encouraging breaks and time off, promoting a healthy work-life balance
Right.
are essential for maintaining morale and productivity.
I see.
And don't underestimate the power of simply acknowledging the stress and pressure that your team is under.
Yeah.
Sometimes just saying, I know this is a lot right now, but we're going to get through this together can make a world of difference.
That's such a great point.
Yeah,
It's about humanizing the experience and showing that you're in it with them.
absolutely.
Now, before we dive into some of the other frequently asked questions about the role itself, I want to touch on a topic that's on everyone's mind.
Oh, right.
What is the difference between a design manager and a design director?
Ooh.
The lines can get a bit blurry, especially in smaller companies.
It's true, there's definitely some overlap, but generally speaking, the design director role has a more strategic focus,
Okay.
while the design manager is more hands-on with the day-to-day operations of the team.
So if the design manager is the first chair violinist,
Yeah.
the design director is the conductor.
Exactly. The design director sets the overall design vision for the company or department, influences the brand strategy,
I see.
and might even be involved in high-level decision-making about product development or marketing campaigns.
Okay.
They're thinking about how design can elevate the brand, create a cohesive customer experience, and drive business growth.
It sounds like a natural progression where you start by mastering the craft of design, then move into leading a team.
Yeah.
And eventually you're shaping the design direction for an entire company.
It's a journey that requires continuous learning and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. You need to develop your leadership skills, your business acumen,
Right.
and your ability to influence and inspire others.
Speaking of journeys, let's talk about the path to becoming a design manager.
Sure.
What kind of education and qualifications do you typically need to land that first leadership role?
So most companies will be looking for someone with a bachelor's degree in design, art, or a related field.
Okay.
But a degree is just a starting point. Your portfolio is your most valuable asset.
Makes sense. You need to be able to showcase your design skills, your creative thinking, and your ability to solve problems visually.
Right. But as you progress in your career, you'll also need to develop strong leadership and communication skills. And depending on your area of focus, you might want to consider additional certifications.
The article mentions qualifications in project management or user experience design.
Yes.
Are those becoming more and more important for design managers?
Absolutely. Certifications demonstrate your commitment to professional development and your willingness to invest in your skills.
I see.
For example, if you're interested in leading UX design teams,
Right.
getting a UX certification can give you a competitive edge.
Okay.
It shows that you understand the principles of user-centered design and can apply them
Yeah.
to create intuitive and engaging user experiences.
So it's not just about being a great designer.
Right.
It's about having the business skills and the strategic thinking to lead a team and drive results.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, here we go.
Salary expectations.
All right.
What can a design manager expect to earn?
The million-dollar question.
It is.
As you might imagine, salaries can vary widely
Oh, for sure.
based on location, industry, company size,
Right.
and of course your experience level.
The article mentions that a design manager typically earns more than a senior designer, but less than a design director. But are there any specific numbers or ranges we can share?
While it's always best to research salary benchmarks
Yeah.
for your specific location and industry,
Okay.
websites like Glassdoor and Indeed can provide some insights. In the U.S., for example, the average salary for a design manager can range from around $80,000 to upwards of $150,000 per year.
Wow. Okay.
But again, that's just a general range.
So there's definitely potential for a good income, especially as you gain experience and move into more senior roles.
Absolutely. And beyond the financial rewards,
Yeah.
being a design manager offers a sense of fulfillment that's hard to find in other careers. You get to see your creative vision come to life.
Right.
You get to mentor and develop other designers.
Yeah.
And you get to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Okay, before we move on to the art of leading and inspiring a design team,
Okay.
is there anything else that aspiring design managers should know about the role itself?
One piece of advice I always give is to never stop learning. The design world is constantly changing.
Right.
So stay curious, explore new technologies, attend industry events, and surround yourself with people who inspire you.
That's great advice. And remember, you don't have to wait until you're a design manager to start developing those leadership skills.
Absolutely.
Seek out opportunities to mentor junior designers, lead projects,
Yeah.
contribute to your team's success.
Exactly. The more you invest in your growth and development, the better prepared you'll be to step into that leadership role when the opportunity arises.
Now let's talk about what might be the most rewarding
Okay.
and challenging aspect of the role.
Right.
Leading and inspiring a team of creative individuals.
Let's do it. Welcome back. Before we jumped into those tricky interview questions, you mentioned that people are curious about the design manager role itself. Let's dig into some of those frequently asked questions.
You read my mind. I think one of the first things people want to know is like, what are the everyday responsibilities of a design manager?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a fantastic designer,
Right.
but leading a team and managing projects is a whole other skill set, right?
Absolutely. While the specific tasks might differ depending on the company and industry,
Right.
there are core responsibilities that most design managers share. The article touches on this, mentioning things like leading the design team,
Yeah.
making sure the designs help the company reach its goals.
Right.
But it's so much more than that.
So it's not just about being the creative genius anymore.
Not quite. You're still a creative force,
Okay.
but you're also a strategist, a mentor, and a facilitator.
Okay.
You're responsible for setting the creative direction, making sure projects run smoothly, and nurturing the talent within your team.
Okay, so walk me through a typical day.
Yeah.
What's on a design manager's to-do list?
Well, you might start your day reviewing designs,
Okay.
providing feedback to your team, making sure everyone's on track with their deadlines. Then you might have a meeting with stakeholders to discuss project goals or present design concepts. Budgeting and resource allocation are also key responsibilities.
Yep.
So you could find yourself reviewing project budgets, negotiating contracts with vendors, or planning for upcoming resource needs.
Wow. That's a lot to juggle.
It is.
It sounds like you need to be incredibly organized.
You do.
And have strong communication skills.
You nailed it. Being able to communicate effectively with your team, stakeholders, and even clients is crucial.
Right.
You're the bridge between the creative vision and the business objectives.
The article also mentioned resolving team issues and making key decisions about the design process. You give me some real-world examples of those kinds of challenges.
Let's say you have two talented designers on your team who have very different design styles and approaches.
Right.
As the design manager, you need to be able to mediate that conflict,
Okay.
find common ground, and guide them towards a solution that meets the project's needs. Or you might be faced with a situation where a client is requesting a design that doesn't align with the brand guidelines.
Oh, that's a tough one.
You need to have the confidence and the communication skills to push back, explain your rationale,
Right.
and present alternative solutions that achieve the client's goals while staying true to the brand.
It sounds like you're not just managing designs.
Yeah.
You're managing personalities, expectations, and sometimes even egos.
You could say that, but that's what makes the role so dynamic and rewarding.
Yeah.
You're constantly learning, growing, and finding creative solutions to complex challenges.
Now, I know we touched on this earlier,
Okay.
but let's go a bit deeper into the distinction between a design manager and a design director. When does a design manager become a design director?
Yeah.
And what changes when they do?
That's a great question. While titles can vary across companies,
Right.
there's usually a shift in focus as you move up the leadership ladder. A design manager is often deeply involved in the day-to-day execution of projects, guiding their team, making sure things run smoothly.
Right.
A design director, on the other hand, takes a more strategic, big-picture view.
So if the design manager is the first chair violinist, the design director is the conductor.
Exactly. The design director sets the overall design vision for the company or department,
Okay.
influences the brand strategy,
I see.
and might even be involved in high-level decision-making about product development or marketing campaigns.
Okay.
They're thinking about how design can elevate the brand, create a cohesive customer experience, and drive business growth.
It sounds like a natural progression where you start by mastering the craft of design, then move into leading a team, and eventually you're shaping the design direction for an entire company.
It's a journey that requires continuous learning and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. You need to develop your leadership skills, your business acumen, and your ability to influence and inspire others.
Speaking of journeys, let's talk about the path to becoming a design manager.
Right.
What kind of education and qualifications do you typically need to land that first leadership role?
So most companies will be looking for someone with a bachelor's degree in design
Okay.
or a related field.
Okay.
But a degree is just a starting point. Your portfolio is your most valuable asset.
Makes sense. You need to be able to showcase your design skills, your creative thinking, and your ability to solve problems visually.
Right. But as you progress in your career, you'll also need to develop strong leadership and communication skills.
Right.
And depending on your area of focus, you might want to consider additional certifications.
The article mentions qualifications in project management or user experience design.
Yes,
Are those becoming more and more important for design managers?
absolutely. Certifications demonstrate your commitment to professional development and your willingness to invest in your skills. For example, if you're interested in leading UX design teams,
Right.
getting a UX certification can give you a competitive edge.
Okay.
It shows that you understand the principles of user-centered design and can apply them to create intuitive and engaging user experiences.
So it's not just about being a great designer.
Right.
It's about having the business skills
Yeah.
and the strategic thinking to lead a team and drive results.
Yes, exactly.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, here we go.
Salary expectations.
Right.
What can a design manager expect to earn?
The million-dollar question.
It is.
As you might imagine, salaries can vary widely
Oh, for sure.
based on location, industry, company size,
Right.
and of course your experience level.
The article mentions that a design manager typically earns more than a senior designer, but less than a design director.
Right.
But are there any specific numbers or ranges we can share?
Well, it's always best to research salary benchmarks
Yeah.
for your specific location and industry. Websites like Glassdoor and Indeed can provide some insights. In the U.S., for example, the average salary for a design manager can range from around $80,000 to upwards of $150,000 per year.
Wow. Okay.
But again, that's just a general range.
So there's definitely potential for a good income,
Yeah,
especially as you gain experience and move into more senior roles.
absolutely. And beyond the financial rewards, being a design manager offers a sense of fulfillment that's hard to find in other careers. You get to see your creative vision come to life.
Right.
You get to mentor and develop other designers, and you get to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Okay, before we move on to the art of leading and inspiring a design team,
Okay.
is there anything else that aspiring design managers should know about the role itself?
One piece of advice I always give is to never stop learning.
Okay.
The design world is constantly changing, so stay curious, explore new technologies, attend industry events, and surround yourself with people who inspire you.
That's great advice. And remember, you don't have to wait until you're a design manager to start developing those leadership skills.
Absolutely.
Seek out opportunities to mentor junior designers.
Yeah.
Lead projects, contribute to your team's success.
Exactly. The more you invest in your growth and development, the better prepared you'll be to step into that leadership role when the opportunity arises.
Now let's talk about what might be the most rewarding
Okay.
and challenging aspect of the role.
Right.
Leading and inspiring a team of creative individuals.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've gone over what a design manager does on a daily basis, but let's get to the heart of it now.
All right.
Leading a team of creative minds.
Right.
It's got to be incredibly fulfilling to nurture that talent.
Yes.
But I imagine it comes with its own set of challenges.
You're spot on. It's one of the most rewarding aspects of the job, seeing your team's creativity flourish, but it requires a delicate balance.
Right.
You need to provide structure and guidance while also giving your team the freedom to experiment and push boundaries.
So it's not about being like a dictator, calling all the shots.
No, not at all.
It's more about being a coach,
Yes,
fostering an environment where creativity can thrive.
exactly. Think of it as creating a greenhouse, not a factory. You're providing the right conditions, the support, the resources, and encouragement for those creative seeds to grow.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Now, we talked earlier about how failure is a part of the creative process.
Right.
As a design manager, how do you create a team culture where people feel safe to take risks, even if it means they might not always succeed?
It all starts with trust and open communication.
Okay.
Regular team meetings, brainstorming sessions, even casual check-ins. These create spaces where ideas can flow freely, where constructive feedback is welcomed, not feared.
So it's about making it clear that it's okay to make mistakes,
Yeah,
as long as we learn from them.
absolutely. And celebrating those aha moments, both big and small. Did someone come up with a brilliant solution to a tricky design problem? Did a team member go above and beyond to help a colleague?
Right.
acknowledge those wins, it reinforces a positive and supportive atmosphere.
I could see how that kind of positive reinforcement
Yeah.
would go a long way in boosting morale,
Yes.
motivating the team.
Absolutely.
Inspiration can be fleeting, can't it?
Yeah.
How do you keep that creative spark alive,
It can.
especially when you're working on long-term projects?
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. I always encourage my teams to look beyond the immediate project,
Okay.
to seek inspiration from different sources.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's attending a design conference, visiting a museum, or even just taking a walk in nature.
Yeah.
Sometimes stepping away from the screen can be the best way to rekindle that creative fire.
I love that idea. It's about reminding yourself that inspiration can come from anywhere at any time.
Exactly.
Do you have any personal rituals or practices that help you stay creatively energized?
One thing I do is I keep an inspiration swipe file.
Like-
So it's a collection of designs, images, quotes, anything that sparks my interest, and I revisit it whenever I'm feeling stuck or uninspired.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a reminder that there's a whole world of creativity out there to draw from.
I like that. I might have to steal that one from you.
Feel free.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the internal dynamics of leading a design team.
Yeah.
But what about those external factors?
Right?
How does a design manager navigate those, sometimes tricky relationships
Sure.
with stakeholders and clients?
It's all about communication and setting clear expectations.
Okay.
Early on in a project, I like to have open conversations with stakeholders and clients to understand their goals, their vision, and their non-negotiables.
Yeah.
This helps to avoid surprises and ensures that everyone is on the same page.
So it's about building those relationships early on.
Yes.
Establishing trust,
Mm-hmm.
making sure everyone feels heard and understood.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to push back if you feel a client's request is compromising the design integrity or going against the brand guidelines.
Right.
You're the advocate for good design, and sometimes that means having those tough conversations.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to be a skilled diplomat as much as a creative leader.
You could say that it's a delicate balancing act, but when you get it right,
Yeah.
it's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
You get to see your team's work make a real impact,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to be a part of creating something truly special.
Well, I think we've painted a pretty comprehensive picture
We have.
of what it takes to be a successful design manager, from acing those interviews
Yeah.
to leading and inspiring a team. It's a challenging
It is.
but incredibly rewarding role.
And it's a journey that's constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
As technology advances and the design landscape shifts, the role of the design manager will continue to adapt and grow.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? There's always something new to learn, a new challenge to tackle,
Yeah.
a new way to push the boundaries of creativity.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this field so exciting.
As we wrap up this deep dive, we'd love to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
If you were interviewing for a design manager position, what one quality would you prioritize above all else?
Ooh, good question.
What makes a great design leader stand out from the crowd?
I encourage you to ponder that question as you continue to explore this fascinating world.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of design management.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep creating, keep leading, and keep inspiring.
Yes, absolutely.